the Honorable Ssemujju has mentioned here, that he learned from the leader of opposition that he consulted some people. So the people he consulted must have constituted the party leadership, but also colleagues in parliament, because this was not business of National Unity Platform strictly, but business of the opposition.
Yeah, but MPs were caught unaware.
They had an option of staying and leaving. By leaving, they exercised their sense of judgment, and it was very clear that those who walked out agreed with the walking out. Those who didn't agree stayed, and nobody touched them for not walking out. So certainly, by actions, there is an indication of consensus. But for me, I think that is not the most important thing. The most important thing is that what is the context? The context is that most times the NRM wants to operate by impressions. That when they are doing their shabby things, they co-opt people from the other the political organizations to be part of the process. And that is very dangerous, because it gives wrong signals to the population if these impressions are not genuine. And I think that partly explains, and the leader of opposition was very clear. He mentioned that they did not want to accompany the NRM legislators on their mischievous agenda. And so that has been explained, I believe, thoroughly, that informed the decision to walk out. And I think it has been confirmed on this show that he has been quoted as having informed the Honorable Assembly that there were consultations. But most importantly is to say that this entire process was illegitimate. Illegitimate in a sense that, one, it intended to reenact what was found to be inappropriate by both the Constitutional Court and the Supreme Court, particularly the trial of civilians in the courts martial. Number two, the process which has been elaborately talked about fell short of meeting the standards. You see, the rules of procedure may set the minimum, but even by setting the minimum, it is not in any way taking away basic principles that guide legislation. For example, the laws that are enacted should be a reflection of the aspirations of the people. While you are concerned, that's why normally your consultations are not restricted to members of parliament who will have a chance to debate the proposals. That's why they invite people. For example, I have learned through media coverage and what have you that there was an invitation extended to experts at 9 p.m. inviting them to appear at 9 a.m. And this is a technical matter. People have to prepare to come and present meaningful submissions. The invitation to Law Society was also on short notice. And you ask yourself that what was the emergency? Because all this time has been there. But the intention was to mischievously circumvent the findings of the Supreme Court, reintroduce this, not because even the members of parliament felt it was important, but because they were also under pressure. Pressure from the chairman of NRM, because on record, after the ruling of the Supreme Court, he made his views.
He applauded the legislators, yes.
After the ruling of the Supreme Court, he called out the judiciary for making the findings they did make. And so did the Chief of Defense Forces. And when the legislators now, and I think the submission about people being summoned for the caucus meeting, having rejected a number of provisions, being summoned in itself points to the pressure they were under from the chairman of NRM. And so it is very clear that this is an illegitimate law. It offends the Constitution, it offends the international standards and practice, and it is not intended in any way to achieve the ends of justice, but to serve the wishes of an individual.
To what extent would you say that Parliament was arm-twisted and the opposition lost?
I think when we are looking at a law like this one, it is not about I don't think the people that lost in passing of this law is the opposition. It is the people of Uganda, because this law is not only going to affect the opposition.
We are not talking about the UPDF bill alone. We're looking at the two.
Yeah, but we must be systematic.
Okay, fine.
We cannot just, we must be systematic. But even if you chose to look at both, they are both laws that you would say are of high public interest. So when you are focusing, for example, still on the amendment to the UPDF Act, you realize that the people who will be affected, of course, the primary target are members of the opposition, because the courts martial have largely been used as an instrument of whipping opposition into line. Whoever has disagreed with the establishment, both in the army and outside the army, has faced the general court martial. And the list is long. The list is long. Dr. Besigye has been there, even recently has been there. The Honorable Kyagulanyi has been there. Sejjusa, when he disagreed with the establishment, was taken there. Tumukunde, when he disagreed with the establishment, was taken there. So it is an instrument of oppression. It is an instrument that the regime uses to whip those with dissenting views in line. But in fact, the Supreme Court had the occasion to also indicate that this court or these courts should not only be fair to the civilians, but should be fair to the armed officers as well. And I can tell you that many of them, if you have been to that court, you realize they have also, this court is as repressive to them as it is to the civilians. But for tonight's purposes, I want to specifically largely focus on the trial of civilians in the courts martial. First of all, both the Constitutional Court and the Supreme Court had the occasion to indicate that this is unlawful.
Will you allow me to look at the implications a little later?
Okay.
Thank you.